Hey everybody, today I'm going to clean the heads, the surfaces of the chambers and the valves. Now as you can see right here, look how dirty that head and chamber as well as gasket surface, it needs to be cleaned. Now this is an iron head, so I'm going to use wire brushes, steel wire brushes. Now if there's aluminum heads, you would use a less abrasive method like a rubber brush, a rubber wheel brush. They have those kind of things. It's kind of like a really hard rubber, and it works almost as good as a steel brush or wire wheel, but it's for aluminum, because aluminum you'll actually grind holes in them if you had, or you'd grind material away if you actually used a wire wheel. Now the head behind right here is the one I just cleaned last night. So this head's done. I think it's clean enough. It looks good. It's not perfect. I mean, I could make it all polished and look better, but you know, all the nasty carbon and deposits are off, at least compared to this one. So I'll show you how I did this. So we'll set up the old tripod here. Okay. Next, can't forget the safety glasses and some gloves, wire wheel, and I need to plug in the wire wheel. So make sure I can still see good. Alright, looking good. There we go. Full time. Get the old wire wheel. I start with this one first to get the chamber area and the gasket surfaces. Then I'm going to go with one of these wheels, a wheel like this to get onto the valves, a wheel like this to get angles and spark plug hole areas, and then of course this for some of the flat areas in the chamber. So I'm going to start with this wire wheel first. Put the old safety goggles on and hit it up. Alright, here we go. Alright, that's the first pass I did, just to get some rough stuff off. Put a little engine degreaser on there, let it soak in a bit. Little engine degreaser, clean. There we go. Let that soak in a bit. Just like so. This little brush here, and just work it in. Work it into the valves and the chambers, the spark plug holes. There we go. Let all this degreaser work its way in. Yep. Let it work in. Clean it up. Yes, I looked up these heads in my Ford build book, and it has E7TE heads, which are really good heads. It's probably one of the best factory made heads that they made for the 302. So I'm lucky I have a good set of heads here. Look like they're going to do a good job for this build. Looking at the chambers, about 60 to 65 cc chambers, which will be decent for boost. It should respond fast. It will be fairly high compression, but not over the top. Be great compression ratio for good compression for a boosted engine, because a boosted engine, you don't want high, and you don't want too high, and you don't want too low, because low makes more turbo lag. Higher compression reduces turbo lag, so the turbo kicks in faster, and that's what you want with a turbo engine. You want it to kick in faster, especially when you pick those larger T4 turbochargers. You want the turbo to kick in faster. Now the Red Z that I have over there, that's the problem with it. The factory engine's still in there, and they started out with a 7.5 to 1 compression ratio, which is way too low. In the 80s, they really didn't know what they were doing with turbochargers until they made the Buick Grand National. That's when they finally started figuring it out in production cars, and those cars started to be very fast. But the 86 Nissan 300ZX stock, it's a dog. Only had about 5 psi of boost, and it had 7.5 to 1 compression ratio, so it was a dog. It had lag. It wasn't fast. The only difference between my Z and now is I didn't go into the engine, but I bolted a much larger turbocharger on it, so it gets a lot more boost with its low compression, but it has some lag to it. It takes a while for that boost to hit, so I have to let the clutch out at some high RPMs to get the Turbo Z to launch good. Well, the solution for that is I'm going to take that 3.3 V6 engine out of the Nissan Xterra outside my yard, build that engine, increase the ring gap like I did this engine to 30 thousandths, build it up real good, and it will have a higher compression ratio. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like a 10.5 to 1 compression ratio, which would be just right for me on boost, because at that compression ratio you can actually get a lot of off the line on your turbo. You get a lot less lag. So here I go cleaning the ports again. Now that I've let the cleaner soak in real good, do some cleaning. And little by little it's coming along. A little bit more engine degreaser. There we go. Let it soak in a bit. I'm getting all this crud off. The crud's coming off. All those carbon deposits and oil deposits from PVC lines and all that crap that goes inside the combustion chamber. Oil mist, carbon from the unburned fuel, all that stuff. All those deposits I'm getting off. So we'll start fresh. Nice clean engine. Nice and clean compared to before, that's for sure. Yep. Budget build. Getting there. Pretty time consuming, but little by little getting rid of all that crud. Spray a little carb cleaner on there now. Carb cleaner is really good at getting crud off. So I'll take the acid brush and spread the carb cleaner solvent around. really strong carb cleaner, so definitely wear your eye goggles for this one. You get a little bit of carb cleaner in your eyes, it'll let you know you're alive, that's for sure. Yes, it will. Alright, coming along. That carb cleaner's already dissolved. Spray a little more. There we go, spread it around. There we go. Spread that carb cleaner around the chamber and the valves, all that good stuff. This is kind of the method if you don't have one of those giant parts cleaners or anything like that. You just improvise and adapt with a power drill and some wire wheels and brushes. Yep. As long as you clean all the crud off, or at least as much as you can get. You know, a clean engine with fresh gaskets. It'll have some fresh rings, some fresh bearings, gaskets, put it all back together. This would be a great little engine. I've already opened the piston rings gap up to 30 thousandths, so it's going to be one heck of a performer when I turbocharge. Put the 2 turbos on it. There we go. A little bit more. Yep, carb cleaner is some pretty strong solvent. If it can clean all the crud out of a carburetor, it definitely helps for the chambers on this head. Alright. Getting there. And I'll switch brushes to one that's going to pay good attention to the valves. Now, got this little short one. I'm going to go with this for a little bit because that's a real good one. This is good for getting in those really tiny crevices and spots in the chamber and around the valve. well, basically, this is pretty much clean. I just got a few more things to go over, get the rest of it done. But for the most part, this is a very clean head. All the carbon deposits are off of it. Yeah. Ready to reassemble with some new gaskets. Look at there. Yeah. Yep. Clean this a little bit. Clean this a little bit more. Put this over here. There we go. Just takes a lot of time and effort, or you can just take it to a machine shop and have them do it. Yeah, this budget build, I'm just doing it myself, just nice and simple to the point. Nice and simple to the point. Wow. Dirty towel. Dirty towel. There's a lot of crud on this head, indicated by the paper towels. They're really getting dirty. Yep. Now going in and cleaning all the crud. Alright, this head about looks like the other one. A little bit more work on both of them. I'm going to get a little bit more of those deposits off of the exhaust valves. The big ones are the intake, the small ones are the exhaust valves. I'm going to do a little bit more work on that and call it a day. And then wait for the bearings and the rings to come in and put those pistons down there. Put the new rod bearings in, the new piston rings on, gap them to 30 thousandths. I showed you how to do it, but one of my rings broke, so I've got to replace a minimum of one ring. We'll see how all that goes. There's the engine under the cover. And thank you for watching Mad Boosting. Please subscribe and like my channel. Share with your friends, and have a great day in Mad Boosting.